Welcome back to the Pipe and Tobacco Talk podcast. It's episode 38. And Tim, it's time for the MBSDpipes.com warning.
Warning, this podcast will expose a listener to offensive, insensitive, off-putting, and otherwise socially unacceptable content known to the state of California to cause cancer. To avoid injury, we, the sponsors, recommend you grow a pair.
Get away, Tim. And speaking of our sponsors, Mitchell and Sarah have graced us with two fantastic pipes for our next giveaway. The first one I'm going to show is this gorgeous artisan pipe from Benny Joe's. It's a pot, bamboo, unsmoked, brand new, absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous pipe. And that'll be for our next contest. And then we've got, and I'm holding up this Benny Joe's bag so you can see the pipe. And Astley's Bent Billiard, absolutely a fantastic pipe. It is a new old stock pipe, never been smoked. Another just wonderful
That's
prize.
Like it looks like a Baskerville or, like a Sherlock Holmes pipe.
Yeah, exactly. So much love to our sponsors, mbsdpipes.com. Absolutely, Mitchell and Sarah. And I'm going to talk about a couple of pipes I got from them this week because they're absolutely killer. So there we go. Ian Fisher was supposed to be our guest tonight. We have messaged him, tried to get a hold of him. We have not heard from him. But when we do, if he jumps on with us, we'll have him on. If not, we'll reschedule him for another date. And again, Tim and I had a long conversation. And by long conversation, I sent Tim a text. He sent me a text. What are the goals? What are the plans? No clue. We're just winging it.
We don't have goals.
No.
Because what did we come up with? We came up with some corporate speak. There was entrepreneurial spirit. Let's read those. Those are pretty good. So these are the things that that you do if you have goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So outside the box thinking.
Yep, that's one.
Collaborative engagement. Entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah, those are all
beautiful.
Outstanding. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's, I think that kind of sums up. We don't have goals. We're certainly not, as Tim said, tip of the spear.
Yeah. We're going to be using words like synergy and paradigm shift now.
Yep, we are full on corporate nonsense tonight. So please enjoy the show.
I had a pile, like this giant pile of Italian greens last night with garlic and everything. And this morning I had a paradigm shift. Oh, big time.
Oh, man. Why don't I just swallow a tablecloth and pull it through? That'd be more fun, huh? Yeah. How much fiber did you get? Oh, it was like a picnic table's worth.
Yo, Gibbons had nothing on me, man.
Tastes like wild hickory nuts. No. No, nothing from Ian. I did want to talk real quick. So Greg from the Long Island Pipe Club, Egg Roll Piper, had contacted me last weekend, says, I think I'm ready for you to make me a blend. And I said, okay, what do you want? He goes, well, I'd like a couple of Orientals and a couple of Virginias and a little Rustica. I said, okay, we can do that. And so the blend came out as Egg Roll Piper's finest. And Russell from the Pipe Spores and Pals Football League came up with the Egg Roll Smoking a Pipe logo for the Egg Roll Piper's finest. And what's amazing is that Greg and Toby and Ted from the Long Island Pipe Club have just absolutely loved this blend, and it's caught fire like no other blend that I've made. I'm just stunned at the responses I'm getting, and I just things like this just don't happen to me. You know what I mean? It's an oddity, and I'm very thankful for Greg and all of his support, and Toby for all of his support, and Ted for coming on board as a patron. We certainly appreciate it. So thank you, gentlemen.
Wonderful.
So
I got a nice email from Tad Demosky thanking us for the pipe.
oh, well, go ahead, read it off.
Well, I'm trying to find it. I'm just telling you that I got it. It's in here somewhere.
And Tim is frozen.
Also got a message from Bradley at BG Woodworks. He let's see. I asked him if he'd gotten the box, if it arrived, and he said it hadn't shown up yet. It most likely had to go through the USPS black hole in Atlanta. And I said, well, I hope the USPS doesn't fuck it up. He goes, fuck it up, lose it, run over it, ship it across the country and back. They're bound to do one of those. And I said, what's in it? I said, a couple of pipes, a lighter, ashtray. But I named the things, and I said, oh, yeah, and a dog turd. He goes, nice. What kind of dog? A Great Dane, of course. So he sent me a picture of this box. And he goes, I think Ace Ventura had a hand in delivering this box. The contents are fine. Said, but the box has been through it.
Oh.
Let's see. He says, oh, yeah. He says, I'm going to have to report you to the Bureau of Vegan and Environmental Protection Agency because you pack so many plastic bags in it. I feel like we have this thing with all the plastic shopping bags.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some space in there, so I just crammed that thing full of those plastic bags. When he got it, there must be 30 of them in there.
For God's sakes, don't send those to Colorado. They're useful. People here will pay top dollar for them.
All right. Let me see. Dad. Do.
I actually have it printed out.
Talk amongst yourselves. Well, why don't you read it then?
Well,
why don't you tell me that?
Well, one of us makes show notes. I don't do goals, but because watching me fumble around trying to find blends and stuff on the computer is fascinating watching for all of our viewers and listeners. So, good evening.
Hair grow.
Yeah, exactly. Good evening, Jim and Tim. My wife, Kimber, is just amazing. What a surprise I received today with your pipe, tobaccos, pen, and pipe rest. How wonderful. The bling is awesome, too. I can't wait to use your drink coaster at work. Thank you, friends. Your generosity is too much. I'm honored, humbled, almost embarrassed. My service was a pleasure to experience. I loved every minute. I'm no hero, but I've known heroes, and I salute them, their families, and in some cases, widows. Kimber's letter spoke about me, but let me tell you, she's the one that deserves the praise and thanks. I was a Marine by choice, and she became a Marine's wife by choice. But the things she endured while I was gone weren't what she deserved. Many folks give us in uniform credit, but it really belongs to our families who suffer quietly, alone, and poorly supported. While those of us in service are surrounded by friends and supported with all of our nation can provide, Kimber is the hero in our marriage. Thanks again for your generosity. I truly appreciate it. I love the show and look forward to it each week. Keep up the good work. Us listeners enjoy your ramblings. Warmest regards, Tad. Tad, you and Kimber, much love and respect to both of you.
Quite welcome. Yes.
At least, two old guys can do. And, Tim and I were not on the sobriety bus for the last episode. So this episode, we are going dry simply because we don't want another 4-hour episode, average watch time.
And there's no more booze in the house. It's gone.
Yeah, you drank the last of the pumpkin spice latte IPAs, and
that was nasty.
Now you're,
jeez.
Yeah, I do
but
have.
It's gone.
Well,
it won't hurt anybody now.
Excellent. We did get a couple of letters that I wanted to read too. We got a letter from Timothy Jones. Good afternoon. My name is Timothy Jones, and I just wanted to I just wanted to say what y'all said about me yesterday was very kind, and thank you very much. I had no clue, Morgan, and I apologize, Morgan. I called you Mrs. Jones through the episode because I didn't know your name. But Morgan, thank you for being a military wife. We appreciate it. Morgan was entering me in this. It brought me to tears. I may not have won any of the pipes or prizes, but I won by having a great woman by my side and to be amongst the amazing others you spoke about. Thank you for the kind words and spotlighting my brothers in arms. It was beyond amazing to see the passion and love y'all have for the veteran community. I hope the winners enjoy their amazing items in their prize packs. Third Coast Piper. So if you're on Instagram, he's Third Coast Piper. Give him a follow. Absolutely fantastic guy.
Very nice.
And then we got a letter from Adam DeTore, and he wanted to nominate his late grandfather. So I nominate my late grandfather, Alfred DeTore, who served in Korea, who passed away a year ago. He always shared that he taught. He always shared that he taught in South Korea during the war. After he passed away, the family was given his military medal, the Silver Star. The Silver Star Medal of the United States Armed Forces, third highest military decoration for valor in combat. Your grandfather was a badass.
Mm.
No one in the family was aware of the medal or even suspected he had combat experience. To speak further of his character, I had spinal meningitis and encephalitis caused by a mosquito at age of 3. This was in 1991, before we had decent medical knowledge of the diseases. The doctor thought I had no chance of survival. After surviving, I was left mentally impaired. My grandfather went above and beyond to help me, including buying me a jet ski for Lake Erie. Stimulation was recommended for me, but this was extreme. I was always the grandchild he would do anything for. He's truly a hero.
Beautiful.
Well,
what a nice story.
What a wonderful story.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow that up with anything that we're going to do. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really are a couple of dicks, you know what? When it comes right down to it.
Yeah, here pretty much, Yeah. Absolutely. I do have comments from the last couple episodes, if you want to do comments from the show.
Let's do it.
All right. So, Terry Brewster, great show, guys. Well done. Congrats to Bradley and Tad. I'm your comments for show 34. Jay Ricks is a wonderful funeral director I was talking about. There you go. All right.
All right. Jay Rex.
Yep. Woodsman Piper, excellent show.
I bet he's glad his name isn't like Tom or Tim or something, and he uses just his first initial. T-Rex.
T-Rex. Yeah, got it. Okay.
Hey,
right.
you know what?
I'm a little slow on the uptick.
You know the song that little kids sing, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. If a T-Rex sings it, it's just chest, 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 chest.
All right.
That's how I get when it's time to pay the bill.
Yeah.
I get T-Rex arms. Oops.
It's too far away. I can't get it. At all. Woodsman Piper, excellent show all. And FYI, Jim, I was inspired to put together a blend, and I think it's a winner. 55% nutty red tip burley, 30% ripe Virginia, and 15% dark-fired Kentucky. I think I will keep this in my rotation. It's quite lovely, and it's labeled smoked squirrel.
Nice.
Well played, Woodsman Piper. Easy for me to say.
Right. You gotta make a blend that's road flair.
What's in it? It's a bunch of stuff from the Jar of Doom and some flavoring I don't want. Yeah, right. Cherry flavoring. That'll be awful. Yeah, road flair.
Oh, look, a drill bit.
Some toaster shakens.
Loose change. A drywall screw.
Yeah. Here's a 1024 bolt. Enjoy. To the finer threads.
You're going to want to hold a magnet over that blend.
Yeah. Exactly.
Caution.
Caution. objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear.
You know, they're rubbing it out. They're like, what the hell, a chicken bone?
Yeah.
Throw it over
But
their shoulder.
it had such a unique flavor, you know.
Like Homer Simpson.
Flaming calcium is always a special treat.
Where's
Well,
those magnesium shavings? What happened to those?
How in the world did you get a hold of a white phosphorus? Yeah, I don't.
Man, that's hot. Well, this smoke's kind of hot.
Yeah. It feels like my lungs are on fire. Oh, good. You know the tobacco's working.
Right.
You know, a little shout, you know, some laundry detergent. It'll be fine. You know, gives it that fresh, clean linen taste to it, which everybody desires in a tobacco blend. Yeah.
There's laundry pods, you know, the colorful laundry pods.
Yeah, you know. Remember, kids, Tide Pods aren't food. You know, just in case anybody didn't get that memo and is flipping back through some older TikToks. No. Yeah. Tide Pods, not enjoyable.
Not a good
eat.
idea.
No,
Yeah.
no. Although I do appreciate those that tried it because I think natural selection is working hard to Darwin you.
Right.
Let's go ahead and eliminate your genes from the pool. What do you say, huh? All right. Blake's Pipes. And we do need to talk to Blake. I need to chat with him. I need to get his email. So if he's seeing this, you know, email me at Emerson Southern. We'll talk about, you know, planning your episode.
Yeah.
Which Tim and I, you know, obviously this is well thought out and always well planned. So.
Yeah, you're going to want to come prepared because we're not.
At least one of us ought to be, you know, just kind of going with it from there.
You guys have any idea where you're going? Nope, but we're making good time.
That's right. We might be upside down and on fire, but we're going there fast. Blake's Pipes. I could have sent one in for my first father-in-law. I made a video for him. He was 20 plus years in the Navy and made it to E9. Best guy ever. Got me into motorcycles and one of the best guys to know and be around till he got older and the hearing started to mess with him, where he started to get angry at everything. I'm fearful that losing hearing would drive me to madness. Oh, don't. It's a gift.
What'd you say?
Exactly. I've been calling you. Missed that completely. Yeah. Just quiet here in my own mind. Might have been a couple other things. But loved that man and was sorry I had divorced his daughter. He passed away before all the crap in 2020. Where I think it would have sent him over the edge to see. Anyways, great video to give the men that were in the military. Never spent a day in it, and I think I would have not made it, and I've been told by many. I'm only at 90 minutes. I'm sure I'll write more in another comment. Okay. Well, thank you, Blake. That was very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yusuf Syed.
Nice email.
Yeah. Comments on every video. Good morning, gentlemen. Awesome podcast. Listened to you guys yesterday morning on the way to the Capitol. Enjoyed it and appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Greetings from South Africa. There we go. From our An Evening with Not Harrison Ford, Bluebird Farm. Damn, I thought that was Walt Kanoy. In any case, great show. Harrison was cool. A little harsh on Timothy out of the gates, but all in good fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there's nothing. Oh, man. Harrison, he loves us. I suppose we could jump into Ask Us Anything because Terry and Noah have provided some hard-hitting questions for us this week. Are you ready, Tim?
I'm ready.
All right. Terry, what type of tree would you be?
You know, I choose not to participate in a question like that.
Are you serious?
Oh, okay. I'll let it rip. I'm thinking a maple tree.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all we have to do is just answer it?
Yeah.
Oh, all
I
right.
don't have to explain it in depth. Yeah. All right. You want a maple tree?
All right. Yeah.
It was a tough decision for me because there are two trees that I absolutely love. I love black walnut and I love hickory. But if you forced me at gunpoint, I'd probably choose hickory. I just like the graining in hickory. I like the colors, like the way it looks.
See, I thought that question was one of those, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be? If you were a color, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, if I were an animal, I'd want to be a bird of prey, and I'd want to be red. There you go.
I'd like to be any kind of bird that would just shit all over people's cars.
Oh, so you've selected pigeon.
Right.
All right.
A carrier
There
of
you go.
filth.
Rats with wings. That-a-way, Tim. And now from Noah, again, these are hard-hitting, informative questions pertaining to the pipe and tobacco world. Car or truck, Tim?
Oh, truck.
Yep, I think that's the only answer.
Yeah.
You know, periodically you have to go pick stuff up. You want to go to lumber from the lumber yard. You want to get a load of gravel. Just got to have a truck.
Got to have a truck.
You know.
I don't know what we'd do without a truck around here. We'd borrow somebody else's. And interesting, whenever somebody asked me to help them move, my trucks always broke down.
Isn't that odd?
Isn't that weird? It knows just when to quit.
It borders on magical, Tim. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I got to give the cat a bath. We're moving. Oh, yeah, old Snickers. She needs a bath.
I have to express the dog's anal glands this weekend.
Yeah. Yay!
So I can help you move. Want me to pick up the food? No. We don't need you.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah. I'll wear my brown pants. Life will be fine.
We're having wings.
And then the last question from Noah is, what is your ultimate vacation?
Boy, that's a good one. For me, it's we try to go every year, and there were some years that we missed because people were just not able to do it. But we're doing it this year again, and that's the Griswold family vacation. We had like 14 of us in a condo, and we just have a grand old time. Grandkids, kids, in-law kids. So that's it. Yeah, for me, that's it.
Yeah. Tie the dog to the bumper of the car. Bet the little fella kept up with you for a mile or so. Run, buddy, run. Stretch those legs out, buddy.
He's stretching. He's a runner.
Hey, you want to run through the woods? Here you go.
Yeah.
Now you're shackled to my bumper. Yeah, so those were our hard-hitting, informative questions for this week, and that kind of takes us to what's new. What's new at your house, Tim?
Well, look what I got today. If you remember the last podcast, listeners, if you remember this, because I don't remember the last podcast. I don't remember any of it. But apparently, I called... I called Austin after the show, and I said, "Hey, thanks for doing the show. What'd you think?" Oh, he said, "I had a good time." I said, "Can I ask you a question?" He goes, "Sure." I said, "I didn't make any promises or commit to anything, did I?" And he says, "Oh, you told me you'd buy this pipe for me." And so look at this little guy. It's 1 ounce.
That is a sharp Levant.
It's got like a man. I don't know what it's like the SEM Cumberland. It's got a bunch of different colors in it, and Yeah, it's just a nice little pipe. So about an inch of depth. That's about what my intellect is. So nice.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Nice clencher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So thank you, Austin. Very nice. Appreciate it. Very good pipe.
Well done, Austin. What a good guy to come on for 3 hours with us.
I know. And let us interrupt him.
Continuously.
God,
for 3
poor guy.
hours. You can tell he's been married for a hot minute because he was used to it. He was just like, "Yep, good to go."
I know.
You know.
Yeah.
Just
you ever go to a party and it's like the worst party and you didn't drive. You're just waiting.
Stuck. You're trapped.
You're stuck.
Oh yeah.
That's what he was like. Poor guy. He's like,
yeah.
Here I am.
Are you
on
having
here.
fun?
I don't know where to cut out. No, not that I could just shut down the computer, but that would be peculiar. I'm not going to do that. So poor guy, he was just stuck.
I could pretend that I was struck by lightning and the computer just shut off.
I swear to God, I saw him. He was trying to, with his lighter, catch his shirt on fire. So you have an excuse.
Set myself on fire.
Excuse me, guys. I got to go. I'm on fire. I seem to have shut my hand in a drawer.
Well, yeah, I can't even get my lighter to work. I've got the fan on because it was 70 today in Colorado.
No kidding.
Yeah, and now it's we're preparing for a thunderstorm for tonight because it's Monday night. We're recording on Monday night. Tim had some technical difficulties last night, and it wasn't actually Tim that had the difficulties. It was Spectrum that had technical difficulties. Yeah.
So anyway, I made a couple of pipes last week. I made this. I know your favorite bamboo, but
look at that! The nice tulip shape.
Tulips.
Wow. That is sharp. Now, is that for someone, or will that be on the website here before too long?
I'm not sure. I need pipes for the shows and that kind of thing, so it might go on. I might hold on to it.
All right.
And then little bulldog top Dublin.
Ooh, very nice. Look at how sharp that is.
So it's, that, and then little brandy, some sandblasted brandy, and then
very nice.
Another tulip. This one a bit different.
Oh, look at that! Oh, look at that! That looks like it's got a nice deep bowl to it.
It is. It's very deep.
No,
it's
wonderful. Oh yeah, and you're all the way to the third knuckle on that one.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Very sharp.
You're all the way to the third knuckle.
Oh, I'm trying to change my mind manually. Yeah.
But anyway, this tulip design, I was thinking, since it's instead of calling it a tulip, just call it a labia. What do you think?
Oh, good. We're down to 3 listeners now. With his labia pipe. Come out with the clitoris line, and Tim can't find those bastards anywhere. Made 10 of them. No idea where they went.
That's the G-spot pipe. You can never find it.
A quest for things that don't exist. That-a-way, Tim. Excellent. All right, man, some gorgeous pipes. Yeah, and I don't recommend you calling them that. That's just
all right.
No.
I won't.
No.
So, how about you?
All
What's
right.
new?
As Mitchell and Sarah do a fantastic job. Mitchell is like a crack dealer, so every couple of days he shoots me pictures of incoming pipes, and he got a box of Dr. Graybows. And as you all know, I really like Graybows, and so I got a Graybow Royal Duke at a very reasonable price. And I like the history of Graybow because when you think about it, back in the 40s, 50s, 60s, even into the 70s, they were producing 665,000 pipes a year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they're nowhere near that number anymore. But you have to, these are the pipes our grandfathers, our fathers smoked. My grandfather, it was Graybos and Medicos, smallest, lightest billiards he could get. That's just what he liked to smoke, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
And then he had this. I'm personally fond of the Viscount series because they have, the slightly bent, the unusual shapes, and obviously all of these are estate pipes, but they're in fantastic condition. They're absolutely wonderful. And like I said, I just like Graybos. And this is one I've never seen before. This is a Graybo Starfire, which I thought was
I've not seen that before.
No,
Got
I haven't either.
Scallop cut in the rim of the bowl there. Kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a sharp pipe, and the bowls are just the right size. They're not too big, they're not too small. Very light, great clenchers. And I have a fondness for Graybos. Can't help it. I love my artisan pipes. I let's face it, I just like pipes and collect them like, other people.
Yeah.
Collect coins after a day. Just throw them in a jar. Call it good. So that's what's new in pipes at my house. And then I'm shrinking the size of my library. I don't want to move them across country again. I've been moving my library across country. Some of these books I haven't touched in 15 or 20 years. And there's a bookstore here in Parker that takes donations. So I went in and said, "Hey, would you like some books?" and she goes, "Oh, do you want store credit?" I said, "No, not really. I'm in the process of getting ready to move, wanted to get rid of the books." And so I took her, I don't know, 600-700 pounds of books. And she goes, "Well, is there anything that you want from the store?" Yeah, there sure is. So I found the Grossman's Guide to Wine, Beer, and Spirits. And what I really like about this is the 5th edition. The first edition came out in 1947. This was the 5th edition that came out in 1972. So it has some of the old school terminology. You get a much deeper sense of where bourbon and wine has come, because this book is now 52 years old.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Just something fun.
Kind of neat. Yeah.
And then, as I was strolling through shelves, I found this, the complete guide to antique pipes. And it's just pictures of, all the old style pipes, just ancient stuff in it. And, it has some color pictures. It's not really, it's more of a coffee table type thing. Yeah. But I mean,
oh, look at those.
The hunter style pipes. Just really a great, just a fun book to have around and take a look at older pipes. And then I found, and this is a brand new, in pristine, don't think it's been ever read, The Perfect Pipe. And it's just about a celebration of the gentle art of pipe smoking. So I'm looking forward to reading this. This was written in, hold on, 1998 by H. Paul Jeffers. So, and I think Simon from LCS Briars had recently picked up a copy, and I saw it at the bookstore. So I traded 600 pounds of books for
free.
2.5 pounds of books. So
yeah,
well done on my part.
That's a good trade.
A good trade. There's some blends heading your way that we should talk about. I made a new blend called Antioch, which I think will be in both of our wheelhouses. So it's Latakia, a little Izmir, a little Red Virginia, a little Rustica, a little more Red Virginia, and then it's topped with Turkish bitters. So there's a jar headed your way.
All right, cool. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's also the PapaBear's Cavendish blend. You got 8 ounces of that coming.
Yeah,
and then
nice.
Last week you and I talked about Calhoun County, the Burley Molasses blend that I made.
Yeah.
There's a jar of that coming to you. So.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much.
Well, you're more.
I can't wait.
It's all part of the fun. No. So we already talked about Egg Roll Piper's blend, which I still believe that Orientals are the most underutilized and least appreciated of the pipe tobaccos. I just think when done correctly, they really add something to the blend. I love the warm incense type flavor that you get from a well done Oriental, and I think that they have they just have a special place in my heart, and that's why I'm thrilled that the egg roll, that Greg and Toby and Ted have all jumped behind this, and the Long Island Pipe Club just kind of excited. So
who came up with the name?
Egg roll Piper's Finest.
Yeah.
Well, Greg did.
Okay.
Greg came up with that. So
I don't know why I think that's funny, but
well,
I do.
Because it is. And then Russell, Blue Ridge Pipes, just a fantastic guy. I went on the group chat and said, hey, any of you know how to work AI? And they're like, yeah, what do you need? I said, I need an egg roll smoking a pipe. And he and Nate from Pipes, Force, and Pals jumped on AI right away and sent me about 20 different variations on it. And then I got Anthony involved in it, and Anthony sent me one, and I sent all of them to Greg, and Greg liked the one that Russell did. So that's what we went with. So there you go. And that's how we came up with it. So Egg Roll's Finest.
They were selling
Egg Roll Piper's Finest.
On Instagram, there was a picture of a storefront, and it said on the window, it said, all you can eat Chinese buffet, and there was a sign on the door, and it said, this Chinese buffet, come stay hour. You eat, you go home.
Yep.
I thought that was kind of funny.
It's not an all-day event. An all-you-can-eat buffet is not.
You eat, you go home.
Yeah.
Don't come stay here forever.
Yeah. And then Smoke Snacks, who has his own YouTube channel, and he's doing 100 pipe blends in 100 days, he and his wife, Katie. And they're just absolutely a hoot to watch. He had called me last weekend and said, I want you to make me a blend. I said, okay. He goes, I want it to be rustica forward. Katie, his wife, likes a good Nick hit. I said, okay, I can do that. And then a little Cavendish and a little light fire cured Tennessee, Kentucky. So it's got a little burley in it, a little Cavendish, and it's Latakia forward. And then it's topped with vanilla and spiced rum separately, not vanilla spiced, not vanilla rum. It's vanilla and spiced rum.
I got you.
And the name of the blend, he called it, he sent me a bunch of names, and I said, okay, what do you think? And the name that he sent it out to some other people, Satchel of Richard. Yeah, that is. And I was like, oh no. And I looked at his list and I went, no, Satchel of Richards. That's a winner. That's your.
I love it.
Yeah.
Man,
that is.
I couldn't do better than that on a try.
No, that one was. That one was Richard. It's just, I thought, it's our kind of humor. He gets us completely.
Right.
We're good. We are good.
You know what you ought, the label ought to be a picture of a twig and berries.
Exactly. Exactly. It's exactly what it should be. Yeah. But it's
Satchel of Richard. Beautiful.
Satchel of Richard. It's in the Mountain High series because it's got vanilla flavoring, so it is an aromatic. And they did a video about it 2 days ago, and they were very happy.
Hey, we have a guest.
Oh, Ian is here.
Can you see me? I'm really sorry. I thought we were starting at 9. I apologize.
That's okay.
No, you're fine. We're
there now. We see you.
I was in my shop working, and I checked just to see what time it was.
Well,
starting.
That's all right. We've done some stuff, and we're excited to have you join us.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So Tim and I have been chatting admirably about absolutely nothing, which is kind of the theme of what we do.
Excellent.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
You can be found at Fisher Pipes on Instagram. Do you have a website?
I do not. Right now, I just everything's on Instagram. A little bit on Facebook.
Okay, fair enough. So tell us, how did you get into pipe making?
I think kind of like everyone. My wife is Czech, and every summer when I wanted to take the kids fishing or out to Montana or something, she insisted on taking them back to Prague, and so I was left with way too much time on my hands. And I spent it badly, and I spent it well, and I guess around 2016, 17, I'd been smoking a pipe since around 2000, I guess, 2001, depending how you count. And I just I got in touch with Mark Tinsky, and I wanted a kit, and he sent me a few. And what I really wanted to do was make a bulldog. I don't know why, that was like my shape. And like 99% of the other guys, it was just me, the block of wood, a pre-made stem already drilled out, and just some files and sanding paper. And I don't even think I stained the first one. I'm pretty sure I did.
Now, do you still have your first one?
I do. It's not here. It's not bad, actually. I mean, of course, you spend like a month and a half on it, so it's got to turn out like, somewhat okay. When it started to get really ugly was when I started. Well, I sort of quickly decided that I wanted to, drill and well, not that quickly, but quickly enough, and so the pipe started to get very ugly when I started doing it myself, drilling. And, first I started, just sticking stems in. And I have a picture on Facebook somewhere, and you can probably find it, although I'd be embarrassed, of my first actual pipe, another bulldog. And it really, it's awful. It's just the worst. I've seen a picture of Jeff Grasick's first pipe, and it's pretty freaking good. Which is depressing. Little Savinelli stem on it, but his was awfully good, and mine was awfully bad.
Well,
hey,
I don't think we've ever talked to anyone in the pipe making community that says, I made my first pipe and I just realized I was never going to do any better than this one. So
exactly, this was just the best. No, it was awful, terrible.
Well, mine were all kit pipes as well. And they looked like something that Barney Rubble and Fred Flintstone would smoke.
Exactly.
Before
getting run over by the Stone Mobile.
Right. Right.
Yeah. You mean the chamber and the draft hole are supposed to meet at some point? Huh? Who would have thought
Somewhere.
of that?
It's supposed to be kind of even.
Centered on the bowl. Yeah, no, that's way overrated. I like my draws slightly left of center. So
yeah, I like mine about 1.5 inches above the bottom. That's my favorite position.
Because I like smoking off the top. I like the flame.
Yeah, your version of a system pipe. I don't have to worry about anything moist being at the bottom. No dawdle at all.
Just smoke half of it down. It's fine. No dawdle, no crap in your mouth.
It's perfect. Yeah. Why didn't we think of that? Of course, I've never made a pipe because, we won't talk about it. But I can tell you about 600 different ways to not drill stem material. Yeah.
Everyone comes on and says stems. Oi. God, stems.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You get those days though. Like today, I drilled the chamber too deep, And I did, it was probably about a third of the way off. The draft was about a third of the way off the bottom. And I thought, well, I'm not going to throw away a piece of briar, so I'll make a shop pipe out of it. So I was grinding the shank, and didn't I grind down through the draft hole on that? It was just a wonderful day. So that one's in the bucket. Threw that in the bucket.
An afternoon well spent making kindling. Yes.
Yeah, it's really true. I've been in the shop all day, and I've been working on this bamboo. And Tim, you will obviously appreciate this. Here we go. Excuse how bad it looks, but you see that? Just there's no recovery. I don't know if you can see the crack there. Just
got
down far enough, and then you can't like cut off the shank. You can't sand it down.
Yeah, nothing. You can't do anything with it. Junk.
You can. It goes circular file.
Right.
Yeah. Well, actually, you cut the bottom off of it and you made a tube, and it can be
True.
You play slide guitar. Does it fit over your finger?
Exactly. Slide guitar. You can make little sort of ravioli things.
Right. You can put toothpicks
in
it.
Yeah, you can glue it on a paper plate with glitter and give it to your wife. Look what I made.
If you have two of them.
Make a pair of goggles.
Now, do you have any of your work that you could show off that you're proud of? Do you have anything in the shop currently?
I wanted to run upstairs, but I got because I only have one pipe like available right now. But I'll show you kind of what I'm working on. For years, and Tim, I noticed that you make quite a few blowfish. I always thought blowfish was like a shape that was more for like pipe makers than smokers. Like I feel like I'm a sort of simple-ish guy. But recently, I've been totally obsessed with it, and I don't know why. I was recently in a bicycle accident, and I broke my shoulder into 4 pieces recently. Now it's 2.5 months ago, and I broke 6 ribs, which kept me out of the shop for quite a while.
What did you do? Did you hit a bus?
No, a taxi actually. It's the biggest New York City cliche in the entire.
Oh, jeez, really?
Bang.
And they're not like they're bright yellow or anything,
Yeah, well, when they're going 45 miles an hour, But then I got obsessed.
I ride a sofa, and I've never had an accident like that.
Yeah.
Wise man.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's what I
do. Anyway, I started to get obsessed with the shape, and I spent a lot of time looking at it. I bought one of the the Zhang pipes, the ones that are CNC made in because I'm not clear I'd ever even seen a blowfish like in my hand before.
Yeah, right.
So I've been working on this, which I really enjoy. And Tim, I see you make quite a few different styles I've noticed, and they look really nice. And I've suddenly taken a great liking to this. I started on a volcano today. None of these are very refined, as you can see. And I'm making an AJ, which I really like. I love working with bamboo. That's really kind of like the thing I like the most. I probably make half my pipes bamboo.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And about half freehand versus turned, I'd say. So.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
The blowfish. I am intrigued by those. I come and go though. It's sort of like I got to get away from it for a little bit and I'll do something else. But then I get it in my head, and there's something about the sort of that twisted or undulated shape that you follow the straight grain, and it fans and run it across the
exactly
create the shape so that it follows the grain. And I have had a hard time kind of terminating the bowl at the shank to make it look right. And And
I
I
found that to
always,
be the hardest thing as well. I
yeah,
totally agree with you. Funny.
okay.
That's exactly it.
All right. Well, then good. I'm glad I mentioned that because that's the thing that just like plagues me. It's like, and you think you got it right, and then you look at it, it's like, nah, that's not quite right, you know?
That is so much of pipe making. You think you've got it right. I mean, I guess a lot of makers, and I guess Scotty Purcell. I'm not always sure how to pronounce that. Has allegedly has a rule of just setting it aside for a couple days, and it's kind of scary what you notice after a day or two sitting around.
Well, you know what? I
You think
mentioned,
it's great, and then
yeah, sorry to interrupt again. I
no, no.
mentioned to Jim this week, not this week, last week actually. On Monday, I started 4 stumbles, t- turned them, and roughed them all out, and then I um, ground them down, shaped them, all of them. When I got one done, then I shaped another one, and just every step of the process, I worked on. Um, I advanced them all, one stage, the next stage, the next stage, and I did them all together. And you're picking them up and putting them down and picking them up and putting them down. It's surprising, like what you said, the number of glaring, misproportions. Because you can look at something when I'm working on it, and I can convince myself that that's okay. But if you put it down and then come back to it, it's like it's glaring, and you can't go on. You'll fix the issue.
It's true. It's incredible. I mean, what I do is when I, like today, I'll have 3 new pipes turned. I like to work in batches. And then I just, I put them on my little table where, next to my comfy chair where I, read and at nighttime and just sort of relax. And then I look at them and sort of mark them up. And there was not a single time where I was like, damn, that's just great. Boy, I nailed
Nailed it.
that.
Right.
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right.
but anyway,
All right. Now, one of the podcast listeners said, I have to ask you about your time as a war correspondent.
sure, and it's really central to my pipe smoking. Thank you, whoever asked that. Not because I don't. Just because it's related to pipes. No, I I was a foreign correspondent for the New York Times starting in '98, and I was sent to East Africa, and I was not fully aware because I don't consider myself particularly brave or I wasn't looking for you know to cover a lot of wars, but it turned out I covered 11 countries and 9 of them were either in full out war like Congo, Ethiopia, Eritrea, or various insurgencies, Somalia, Jesus.
Ooh.
And so I started. It was just became like a part of my life and job. And so then after 9/11, I was immediately sent on 9/12 to Israel, where I spent probably a year and a half or so of my life, a lot of it in Gaza, in fact, between 2001 and 2008. And then I was in Iraq before Saddam fell, and then the day after he fell, and then for 2 years on and off after that. Afghanistan, Kosovo, Bosnia, Macedonia. No one remembers that one. It was nasty though. You could like see the fighting like right in front of you. They didn't bother to hide it. It was a small country. But how it connects to my pipe smoking. So my dad smoked a pipe, and his dad smoked a pipe, and uh, I fooled around with it in high school. I smoked cigarettes, and I started smoking cigars when we were in Africa because it was pretty cheap to go to the duty frees there. It was great, in fact. I think it was totally illegal. It was excellent. It was very cheap to get like Cuban cigars. And then we were reassigned to Poland. And smoking a cigar like inside, my wife wasn't that happy with it. So I found some just crappy pipes. I didn't know anything about pipes. Zero. Nothing at all. And I just found crappy pipes and crappy tobacco, and I didn't think that much about it. I smoked it and I liked it. And a couple days after Saddam fell, I mean, I don't know, I guess it's becoming a long time ago now. I don't know if you recall, the entire place was looted. I mean, just Iraqis rose up and just like burnt the shit down, the entire city. I mean, it was just like they'd been oppressed for too long by Saddam, and they were going to steal everything in the world. So literally, you walk there, and I remember driving into the city, and it was just like everything was on fire. People were going into all of the government buildings and just taking chairs, and a guy with a sink, and a guy with
Jeez.
piping and curtains.
They took everything.
And you have to remember that we had been bombing them. You remember Shock and Awe for what, 2 weeks or something or another?
Right.
And people were just coming out, and they were like, holy shit, Saddam's gone, and let's get that stuff.
We've overthrown a dictator. I need a new sink.
I need a sink, some curtains. I know someone's got it. It was actually very dangerous. I mean, I'm making fun. There was actually, we never were able to prove it, but supposedly someone managed to get into it. They couldn't break. They found a bank, and they couldn't get through the bank itself, because there was a big safe. But they managed to get a hole in the ceiling. Supposedly, I'm probably repeating a story that's not true. But apparently, they took a kid by his heels, and dropped him down the hole and held him down so he could just get as much money as he could and pull it back out. Anyway. There was no food. The only way we were eating was, I wouldn't say no food, but there was rotted food because, we'd been bombing them for 2 weeks. And there was this sort of trader's place actually called Alibaba's Alley, even there, Alibaba's Alley. I walked into this junk shop, and there were these 2 beautiful pipes. And I was like, Jesus, wow, I've just never seen anything like that because I, only smoked crappy pipes.
Did you
and
steal
I said,
them?
what are those? I think they were stolen. But anyway, so I asked what they were, and they were Dunhill. I was like, yeah, I think I heard of them, but I'm not sure. And I said, what do you want for that for that pipe there? It was a billiard. I wish I hadn't dialed in here because I have all this upstairs. I would have loved to have shown you.
Well, if you want to, just so that we are not a goal-oriented show. So if you want to go get some stuff, Tim and I will chat quietly amongst ourselves. If you really want to show up, I would love to see.
Let me finish. I'll come right back and it's okay. I can be back in 3 minutes, 2 minutes.
No, you're good.
Okay, be right there.
All right.
It's kind of funny. He was 15 years in war-torn countries all over East Africa, Asian continent,
Kosovo, Bosnia, Macedonia.
Right. Eastern Europe. He comes home, gets on a bike in New York, and blammo!
It's hit by a cab. Yeah.
Gets hit by a cab. All those years, not a scratch.
Yeah. No fragments. No. No catching a stray shell. Nothing.
Nope.
And he gets hit by a cab in New York.
That was smart.
Yeah. Not on my list of things to do. That's why I avoid bike riding whenever humanly possible. But I've already told the story of that. So
we heard the one about the 2 girls who are talking, and the one girl says, "So what are you doing this summer?" She goes, "Oh, I'm going on vacation with my family. How about you?" She goes, "I bought a box of these tampons." She goes, "Why?" He goes, "Well, look, with these you can go horseback riding, you can go skiing, you can go biking,
swimming." Yeah. Just a whole box of entertainment. And you're back.
What's this? I'm back.
Yeah.
What about tampons?
Oh. we were talking when you left. We said, you spent I don't know what 15 years in all those war-torn countries, not a scratch. You come to New York City and you get on a bicycle and wham,
get whacked. Yeah, unfortunately, it's true. It's weird.
And somehow we got onto tampons. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know how it got that way.
Just don't try to understand it. Just go with it, Ian, because we don't know what we're doing.
I'll do that. So anyway, sitting up where there was this pipe, and I said, "How much?" And you have to remember, Baghdad was burning. There wasn't food. We were eating by giving Marines, U.S. Marines, phone calls, sat phone calls back home, and they would give us, MREs, meals ready to eat, the soldiers'
Right.
rations. I mean, that's
Right.
literally how we were eating. And the guy says $125, and I freaking laughed at him. I was like, I hadn't paid more than like $30 for a pipe. I said, you must be joking. Really? And he said, yeah, really. And I was like, okay, I'll see you later. But it stuck in my brain. I went back the next time, and I was like, how much? And he said $125. And I was like, no. You see what's going on. We can work something out. He said, no. So finally I went back, and I was like, I had to have the pipe. Paid him the $125. And that was kind of that. I suddenly was like, there's a whole world of pipes that are kind of great. And I traveled, I didn't come back to the States until 2008, although I stopped covering wars regularly in 2004, although I did go occasionally back to Israel and the Palestinian territories until 2008. But my pipe was my friend the whole time, like when things were crazy and scary. Like, again, I said, I don't consider myself particularly brave. I mean, it was a consistent calming, they talk about the calming effects of a pipe. I mean, I found it very calming and very centering. Plus writing. I like to smoke and write. So.
All right.
Yeah, great
Excellent.
story. Yeah.
Sorry, that was kind of long. I apologize.
No, not at all.
That's
Thank
you got a Dunhill for $125.
Well, which
is,
I thought was like insanity, and I was so wrong. It's a beautiful pipe. I've had to replace the stem twice, but it's great.
Yeah.
Maybe I could introduce you to Softy Bits.
Don't take the bait, Ian. Don't take the bait.
I won't.
You're in for a life of ridicule if you do.
Pipe condoms, just for you. I have to because here's an eldritch stem. I'll be through that by halfway through the first bowl. I have a very jagged canine tooth, and it just
It's like a drill
eats them
bit.
alive. And yeah, in fact, you can actually see no, you can't. Never mind. There's an indentation where my canine goes in that particular pipe, and
right.
Yeah. So what type of pipe tobacco do you like to smoke? When you're in these places, what could you get? So you're in Iraq, and we've shelled it for 2 weeks. What kind of tobacco could you get?
Well, I would have to. Well, like in places like that, of course, I had to bring it myself. And at the time, what was I like? I began like with Marlin Flake, Old Gowrie. I really liked back then. I mean, you remember this was the early aughts and the last part of the last century, and you could there were still pipe shops, if you had to fly in from, and like duty free places still had pipes and tobacco. So, online was just, I mean, I'm sure it was a thing, but it wasn't a thing I was thinking about. I would have to, go to, Paris or, someplace else, London or someplace for, before I went, or when I was traveling, or, every, city had pipe stores, Prague. We ended up moving to Prague, and it was a great pipe shop, tobacco city, fabulous. So, but I very quickly, started smoking. I ended up being a vapor guy, or Weber guy, Virginia-based tobaccos. My wife lets me smoke in the house, but she does not like Latakia.
Oh, so. You have to buy her special gifts.
So I get as long as I'm smoking Virginia, I'm okay.
All right.
And I like your tobacco very much, by the way. The Connemara is delicious, and I was just smoking the Kilkenny today. In fact, it's really good, excellent. I
Oh,
like it pressed. I'm also a flake guy. You guys?
yes, I like it in
Yeah,
all its forms. Yeah, it
right.
doesn't if it's a flake, great. I know it's been pressed. I like pressed. I like plugs. I like cake. I like however they made it. I'm good with it. So
It doesn't matter how it comes.
well, so tell us about your favorite pipe shapes to make. We'll go back to pipe making because that's why we have you on.
What are my favorite pipe shapes? Let me think. Um, I've been at it for a while, and I purposely, not purposely, I just had no intention of selling, and COVID changed everything that way. And what do I like? I like to keep trying. I've been trying. I'm sorry, I'm inarticulate. I've been trying to learn and master as many shapes as I can. I don't know that I have a favorite. I mean, I guess my favorite, and I didn't realize it. I guess I'm at the end of the day a Dublin guy. It wouldn't have occurred to me. I would have said I was a Bulldog guy. But I look at my favorite pipes, and they're mostly Dublins. And I look at some of the more favorite pipes that I've made, and they were Dublins. I like a pot. I really, really like making, little, freehand bent eggs, um, a lot. This was my first attempt at a bent bulldog. Didn't go so well, as you could imagine. But I think okay for a shot. Uh, but I draw a lot, and I think, well, I haven't made this shape pipe. I mean, it seems like a lot of pipe makers fall into different categories of, some people make, the same, three, four, five shape pipes, and they do really, really well with them. And, I think that's great. I have, nothing against it. In fact, I've often thought like maybe I should just focus on five things. Um, but I've really tried to make as many shapes. I guess that's where the blowfish came in. Like I never intended to make one, but I was like, what haven't I made? And I don't know whether I saw a picture of one, and I was just like, I got to figure this out. Plus, I had a lot of time with my 6 broken ribs and my shoulder, so I couldn't do very much except like think about how does this work. Tim,
Yeah.
did you have a hard time wrapping your head around the way that it works?
Oh yeah.
It took me a
Yeah.
long time to figure it out.
Yeah. You know what really helped me? Excuse me. I've become friends with Premel
Uh
Chetta,
huh.
and he's only about 2.5 hours south of me. And I'll go down there to pick out briar, and I don't know, about every 2 or 3 months, something like that. It seems like I go down, and we'll just sit and talk, and he showed me a couple of blowfish that he was making because I was like trying to figure it out, and he had a bunch of them that were in different stages of completion, and there's a variety of you got a blowfish, but then there are shapes of blowfish, and so we were looking at those, and he had one that he had drilled, and it was an Ubushan block. And he said these are perfect for practicing, your blowfish shaping.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Sure.
And he said, sit down there at the wheel and give it a try, and that was really, since he had already drilled it, then all I was doing was working around the drill lines, and so it started to kind of click for me then, and I just needed like that little boost to kind of get me going in a direction, and now it seems like with that sort of baseline of knowledge, then I can fuck up all the blowfish I want on my own time. But it seemed like it helped. Now I still had problems with because I was trying to remember how he had crafted the transition between the bowl and the shank, and it just wasn't. It's sort of one of those things. I know it when I see it, but I can't imagine it while I'm working on it. And I kept end up in the same place where it was like I got a stumble that I really don't like the shape of, and then. I just one time just kind of like took a flyer and said, I don't care if I ruin it. I'm going to change this. And it was like, and kind of the light came on. So it's getting better, but it's still not where I think it ought to be.
They look good to me.
Well, thanks.
They look good to me.
Yeah. Oh,
Spend a lot of time looking at my colleagues' work. Colleagues, I suppose that's a little highfalutin for us, but yeah.
Right.
No. It's
makers.
We have
increasing
colleagues.
Our vocabulary. We're good with it. Yeah.
Here we go. We're not going to have goals, are we? Because that sounds like something that goals go.
No,
with
we're not going to be. Yeah, no, we're not going to be. Tip of the spear either. So, but I did. I kept thinking about that blowfish that Rob Dickey made.
Yeah.
And I finally, you know what? I'm going to give him a call and see because he posted a picture the other day. These pipes are still available. I said, hey, is that one available? No, I sold it. I said,
he did.
What about, and what about the other one you showed us? Yeah, I sold it too. Oh, cool. Thanks, Rob.
Just checking in.
just like to frustrate myself. Thanks. I'm going to hit myself on the hand with a hammer here in a minute, so that'll be fine.
Okay.
Because I have no blowfish in my collection.
When he showed us that, I thought that he said that was one that he was smoking. Like that was one of his pipes.
Yeah, he sold it. He called it into state pipes. He said, I've smoked it a couple of times, and someone saw the podcast he was on, fell in love with it, and called him and got it. And it just happens. So, So that's why I was kind of hoping Ian would show us some pipes. And
Well, I have this one, and I guess this is probably pretty emblematic of kind of what I like to do. I mean, I work with a lot of bamboo. I often just take a conventional shape or a riff on a conventional shape and then try to get basically the fucked uppest piece of bamboo that I can find.
Yeah.
And work it on. Now, this is the first time I'd ever treated a piece of bamboo because it was so weathered. And Tim, that, there's that sort of skin on top of bamboo. And this was, basically it had been, I don't know, it was just so old and it just, one, it wasn't very protected, and I thought it would have gotten stained easily. And two, it looked a little weird between the shininess of the stummel and the shininess of the stem.
Right.
So I used this lacquer that a friend of mine, Castle Pipes. I think he's been on your show.
Yeah, Castle Pipes.
Anthony's a pal of mine.
In fact, Anthony is the one, now it comes to me, that asked me, that said, make sure we ask about your war correspondence days.
Thanks, Anthony.
Well, hold that up to that has nice lines. I like that pipe.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So I finished this just the other day, and so that's what I got. I had Tim. I don't know how you started to sell pipes, and I'd be very curious to hear. But I had, as I was saying earlier, I had no intention of selling. I was just enjoying it for myself. And then right before COVID, I bought a pipe from a guy who lives here in New York, and I mentioned to him that I, kind of crappily made pipes, when I felt like it. And he said, "Well, would you make me a pipe?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, sure." And he liked it, and he kind of, really pushed me to like up my game. Because, before that I hadn't really, I don't say I wasn't serious about it because it was too much work and at the end of the day, too much money to not be serious, but not that serious.
Yeah.
And selling tends to concentrate the mind. Someone's going to pay money and, smoke it and, you want to, please them. And on the flip side, you don't want to embarrass yourself. And I ended up going to, not long after that, Grant Batson had right during the height of COVID, like early 2020, early 22, at in Indianapolis,
Mm.
and that really changed everything for me. He taught us. I mean, first watching a guy like Grant in action was just. I mean, I'd never met another pipe maker except Jean-Marie Gamboni I knew in Rome. But I didn't spend a lot of time while he was making stuff. And that really, it was a week long. There was only 5 of us. There's supposed to be a lot more, but everyone got kind of afraid because of COVID, or decided not to because of COVID, and it just completely put me on a different track. I learned how to make freehands. Um, I learned, how to use 36 grit. I mean, the first time I saw him take 36 grit to a pipe, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was just like, no, you can't
What are
do
you
that.
doing? Chainsaw. Yeah.
What are you doing? And then when he did it on a stem, I was like, no, people don't do this.
Yeah.
They do. And so, I mean, I kind of had 2 lives. I've kind of had 2 lives as a maker. My screwing off, just for fun for myself, and then actually, trying to sell, and and that requires, Tim, as you gotta you gotta you you gotta deliver, or no one's gonna buy your
Yeah,
pipes.
right. They might once.
Yeah, they might once, and
Yeah.
unhappily.
Right.
So
Well, our stories are sort of similar in that, same thing. I just kicking around and made a bunch of them. They were pre-drilled blocks, with the stem that came together, and everybody got pipes, and then I was making more pipes, and I had a box full of pipes, and then my either my grandson or my son said, "You got to sell those on the internet." It's like that thing out there, they call it the interweb.
yeah, the
And
interwebs.
right, and I, I put a pipe on. My grandson set up an Instagram account and put a pipe on there for sale, of Volcano.
That's great.
And some guy in I can't remember who it is. There's a guy in Italy bought it, and I was like, "What the hell?" And so it was just, like bit by bit started that way, and then you get around like you did with going and, getting a lesson, so to speak, and how that changes everything for you in terms of your approach and what you think is possible, and just, kind of knocking the rough edges off of some of your, your technique.
Right, and I since then I've taken quite a few video lessons with Jeff Grasick, and I mean he's great. But what I've really learned from him, um, and I think about this, when I was approaching the blowfish, what I really learned from him, and he's the master of this, is just process. It's like, what is the order of battle when you're like, you have a piece of wood and you want to make it look like this? There's like an infinite number of ways you could attack it, but there's probably only about 4 or 5 good ways, and there's probably one excellent way.
Mm-hmm.
And Graysick really, whether it's stem making or thinking about shapes or whatever it is, he's very much about process. Although his I find his pipes look very dynamic as well. So it's not like it's mechanical. It's more like, what is, again, this is borrowed from my war correspondence days. But what's the order of battle here? That's gonna make this work best.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you probably have developed
Yeah,
that.
burn everything down and go from there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Steal what isn't burned.
Rebuild it.
But you've developed that. Whether there are better orders of battle, if you will, that's something that probably develops for you over time. But you probably go through. I know I do. I've gotten to where I go through sort of the same kind of call it ritual every time with every pipe, and
Yeah.
and you know, your efficiency. I moved my shop. It was right after Christmas. Moved into an addition that I had put on to the old one, and I set up.
Oh, great. Did you build it for the
Yeah,
shop as a
yeah,
shop? Oh,
yeah.
great. That's
And
wonderful.
and I moved everything, pipe making, over to that new area, and I had it all set up. But basically, what I did was I took everything from where it was before and just mapped it over to the new place. And my brother was sitting there, and we were talking, and I was working, and I'm doing what I do, and he says, "Man, you're working there like you this has been set up here for for years." So well, it really kind of was, and it wasn't
Right.
until then that I thought, you know what, I've kind of like developed sort of like a rhythm. Again, I mean, I'm sure that there's somebody could, like Jeff Grayson could come and sit in the chair where my brother was and not marvel at it, but go, "What are you, a knothead? Why would you do it that way? Do it this way," And I would look at what he says and go, "Oh, I didn't know that."
Oh,
the
right.
the light would
Duh.
come on. Yeah.
It's amazing how much of pipe making is duh.
Right.
You sit and you're like, well, why didn't I think of that?
Uh,
But yeah, but but I have found, and I feel like we're all the same at the end of the day. I mean, stems just to be, you know, over here I have some of my early pipes which I am not going to show you, but it has taken and is still taking, although I feel much more confident now. A very long time to make a nice stem, and a lot of it turned out for me to be process. Like what's a good way to attack this, a good order. And it's not rigid, like, okay, first, I mean, excuse me, it's rigid in the broadest sense of, you turn the thing to its shape, you drill it, there's steps that you go through, and in the end you polish it. So there's certain steps, but you sort of attack the stem, and I've sort of developed my own, sort of, again, order of doing things. But it takes a long
yeah, it
time.
does. It does.
What I'm constantly amazed about in the pipe making community is how people like Jeff Graysick and David Huber and some of these people that have been doing it for a long time are willing to share their knowledge with other people. Sean Room uh, does classes. It's magnificent to see that they're willing to help, because there are a lot of hobbies and activities that they're not going to share any information with you.
Right.
Good luck.
Right. I know.
It's true, although I was a little discouraged in the beginning because I reached out to a few makers, and I don't know whether my approach was wrong, but there wasn't, they really didn't want to help that much. And yeah, maybe it was my approach, maybe just too many, so many people are like, I'm going to make pipes, do you know where I can, uh, can I use a stone to do that?
Right.
It's that sort of thing. And people are like, ugh. Can I make it with, I don't know, an acorn? You
Right.
could.
Right.
Um, uh, but then, over time, the number of makers who, you know, you ask a question, you say, look, I just can't get my head around this. And, you do a great job, and they're just great. And it's really, really helpful. Like recently I started doing metal, and I think I talked to 5 different makers, like Jason Patrick, the guy from Foster Pipes, Jay uh, uh, Mulan. I mean, just, and everyone was so helpful. Like, here's what you do. Here's the best place to get the stuff. You know, here's the formula for making a ring to your pipe. You can not use this part of the formula because you need that tiny little recess, and if you just omit this one part of the formula, then then it'll fit perfectly. And it was, really, really wonderful. I'm very
Yeah.
appreciative.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
think
We've
about how
had
long it would take you to figure that out on your own, Yeah.
Forever,
Or you wouldn't even try it,
if
you
at
know?
all.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah, we've had Jason and Kevin Foster on, both on the show.
They're great. I'm
Yeah.
big fans.
Yep, absolutely. Wow. So what's next for you
Yeah.
in your pipe
Yeah.
making
Do you have
journey?
goals, agendas?
Do you?
Do you have a business plan?
Uh, I don't really.
I'm teasing. We have Jim and I have this
I
conversation about
wish.
how we're just like we're directionless in, with this podcast.
And having a blast
Yeah,
doing it.
exactly.
So
No, I feel the same way. No, I have no particular goal. I mean, there's like, real life, and then there's like what you'd like to do. Um, as well as I do, making money off these things is kind of difficult. Um, and if I could, I would, I would love to, you know, do it full time. I really enjoy it. I've had a career that I've enjoyed a lot. I still, work in journalism, which I continue to enjoy a lot. But, I really, this takes up a lot of my mind space and gives me just an enormous amount of pleasure. Plus, I'm getting older, like everyone. Um, so no, I don't know that I have in particular. I'd like to just I'd like for people just to like say, yeah, I really like your pipes. That's that's
Yeah,
kind of it, really.
yeah. This
there you
seems to be
go.
the first thing, right? I mean, that's kind of like the top of the charts is um, being known for making a good product. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, just rough estimate how many pipes you've sold so far?
Um, it's funny. I can tell because the number of bags that I've gone through. So I've gone through about 100, almost 150 bags.
Nice. You're well on your
So
way.
yeah, and I've gotten better. I've only had two returns, including the very first one that I made, uh, which I was so not. Tim, I don't know whether this was true in the beginning of when you start selling, but I was not ready to sell pipes. It's just like why I did, I don't know. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't. This was in 2001, maybe.
Okay.
Just wasn't there at all. And the guy was great, and he became one of my best customers. And he's actually in a pipe club. I made the club pipes for him this last year, which I really enjoyed.
Long Island
So
Pipe
even,
Club?
I'm sorry.
Long Island Pipe Club?
No, this was no, 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 no. This was the Sherlock Holmes Society of Boston.
Oh, okay.
And I was very honored to make their pipe, and it was very fun making them. Although it is challenging to make a club pipe, I have to say. Talk about getting your order of battle down when you're making 15, 16 pipes plus your prototypes and
Sure.
everything. You really, but it's also very helpful. And when you make the same stem, and this is a little complicated saddle stem, um, really thin bit. You do it 16, 17 times exactly the same
Yeah, you get
way.
pretty good at it.
It, well, yeah, you know where the problems are. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that
And you probably learn a couple of ways not to make them. So,
Right.
bonus
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
that's true. Tim, do you have any particular goals, or you're just enjoying
Oh, just
life?
enjoy. I don't have any goals really. I mean, um, I just I do it for the pleasure of it. You're not going to get rich making pipes. You pay for your tools
No.
and your materials. Um, uh, the kick I get out of it is getting to meet people. You go to the shows and you got people that are enthusiastic about the thing that gives you pleasure doing, making pipes, and it's it's good in that way. And but no, I don't have any goals. Well, you know what? I take that back. I want to finish putting the trim on the windows in the shop. I
It's
have
a good goal
I
to
have the
have.
materials, and I just need to do it. They're laying there. Got to get that done. That's probably one of my. Oh, and then I'll build a step, like a permanent step, not a cement block, so that when I walk out of the shop, I don't like step on a cement block that rocks.
Yeah,
Heightens the excitement going to dinner.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would like to get a proper shop. I mean, I'm lucky. As far as I know, I'm the only. Well, there's one other fellow who's been over, who's starting to make pipes. But as far as New York City was a big pipe making place. They
Mm-hmm.
used to have factories here in Brooklyn, and Jan Lowe was based out of here in Brooklyn for years and years and years. But as far and that's where I live in Brooklyn, and as far as I know, I'm the only pipe maker in New York City. Now, I'm sure there's another one. I hope that I'm corrected here. But I'm lucky in that we bought this house in 1998 back when I could, and we had a tenant one time because we lived abroad for all those years, and we rented the house out who was a photographer, and she set up a small dark room here, and I basically just took over the space. But it's really like 5 feet by I don't know 8 or 9 feet. It's very small. Like a lot of my machines are actually just like away from where my shop
Yeah.
is. Just don't have the space. I'd love to have a bigger shop.
It is.
But on the other hand, I count myself lucky that I'm able to do it in New York City at all. I mean, the one guy I was talking to was basically using his shower as the shop, and he would sort of like take whatever machine he needed into the shower, do what he had to, and then take the next machine into the shower. And very inventive.
Now, for those of you kids at home, water and electricity equals
Right.
bad. Bad.
Not the running
Bad
shower.
juju.
Yeah, don't.
When I moved into the
Honey, you look.
addition, I had a tool that I needed. It was in the old edition, and I had to walk across the room to get it. It was like I'm walking across a room. I never did that before. I usually pivot on one foot to the left or to the right, and that was it.
That I think one of the best things that I did this fairly recently, is that I bought one of those the small ones, those Viper chairs. They're sort of industrial
okay.
chairs, and because I'd had this big office chair that I basically found on the street and brought it down. And at one point I realized that, my shop is so small that the office chair was taking up about a third of the space.
Yeah.
And so to get like a proper little seat with a little rest that doesn't take up all the room in my shop, I guess, a lot of people wouldn't understand the great joy that gives.
Yeah, right. Well, I have one of those in that I don't use anymore because it's superfluous now. I have space.
You've got the room.
I have an office chair in there now.
That's nice.
Nice. Excellent. I would like to get to the point where I could order pallets of tobacco at a time. But my wife
you could do what?
order
Jim?
pallets of tobacco at a time, where I could order, 500-600 pounds at a crack.
You don't have the space for storage right now?
No, my wife, I said, look, we can put them in the living room. We'll put some throw pillows on them. They'll look like extra couches. And she was
And they'll smell delicious.
not having
loved
it.
It smells wonderful in here.
It sure. Yeah. Is that 1,000 pounds of Virginia pulling up the driveway? No. No, that's a love seat.
I bought you
Completely different.
I bought you a new washer dryer, dear. Tobacco? How'd that get here?
Wow, this guy must have screwed up the delivery. I better take it. I'll take it back to him
Right.
sometime. That's it. No, that's the hardest part, is just space for all of us. I have 78 different blenders that I use, and,
Oh, really? Wow. That's a lot.
it's space consuming. And my wife comes into the pipe and tobacco room and she goes, can anybody on the podcast see? Nope, just from the neck up, honey. You just get to see the cool stuff. You don't get to see the mess.
Yeah. It looks good. Looks organized.
Well, it's not really. Trust me. It looks like I was missile testing in here. There's always bowls that need to be cleaned and empty jars that need to be washed and just tobacco that needs to be shredded. It's
it's good stuff. Really enjoy it.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I got into the pipe community and I really wanted to participate in some way because I started smoking pipe back in 1986. I was just a wee young pup back then. And then by the time my youngest child was born, he just didn't want to hang out in the garage while Dad smoked a pipe, so I gave it up for a while. And when I came back to it, I just, what a fantastic community. I love being in it.
It's a great community. It really is. It's funny. I think about, I guess that's the major way that, pipe smoking has changed. And for the better, almost by necessity, is that, when my dad smoked a pipe and my grandfather smoked a pipe, my uncle, it was just, you just smoked a pipe. That's just what people did, know? And, now it's become, niche and it's become a community because it's small. And, I think that's one of the great things about it. I mean, and people are very, very supportive of each other, I find. I really, I've only been to one show. I'm going to go to Vegas this year. I mean, I work weekends, so today's my Saturday. So it's very hard for me to pick up and, go to Muletown, which I heard was a blast.
Oh yeah, it was.
It's difficult, but I'm taking actual vacation time to go to Vegas this year. And I went to, my first show was Chicago last year, and I really, really enjoyed it a lot.
Well, I'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah. Great. That's wonderful. Jim, do you go to the shows?
No, never. I still have to work for a living, and I'm here in Colorado for the moment, but I will be leaving Colorado and returning to the South where I belong.
Where are you from in the South?
South Carolina.
Huh. I'm going there in a month or so. My godparents live there.
Huh. Yeah. My wife and I lived in Columbia and Spartanburg area. So
my godfather, who passed away recently, was the pastor of St. Michael of all Archangels Episcopal Church.
Mm-hmm.
Big Episcopal church in Columbia.
Yep. Know where it's at. Been by it many times. So
yep.
So Ian, how many are you contemplating pulling the pin on the journalism gig and going full time in the pipe making business?
No. There's, my kids, although they're adult. Well, first off, I don't think I'm good enough. Second, I don't think I'd make enough money, which is part of the function of not being good enough. But my kids, they don't need a lot of help now, but I think if I, were pulling in a very small salary, that would be kind of bad. My wife works, but it would be tough, but I don't know. I don't think I would. But I do have 3 days, and since I work on weekends, I work. I told Jim this when we were trying to arrange. I work 11, 12-hour days, and at the end of them, I'm like, Arr. But so last night I would have been a little bit less chatty probably. But I'm off Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which gives me, which is actually giving me a lot more, time. Unfortunately, the way my life is structured, it's not like I can come down at 8 o'clock in the morning and
right.
come up for dinner at 7.
Sure.
I have a lot going on, but I certainly get a lot more time than I would otherwise. So, but no, not at all. I in a perfect world, yeah, but this isn't that world.
Yeah, right. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. All right. Well, before you came on, Ian, we kind of did all the rest of the parts of the show, so you missed that. If you'd like, I can happily ask you. We do a segment called Ask Us Anything, and we got some hard-hitting, important questions.
Sure.
So if you'd like to, great. because these are the kind of questions that our threes of listeners are dying to hear the answers to. So,
All right.
Terry, our longtime friend Terry, what type of tree would you be, Ian?
You know, I love a little red maple tree.
High five.
Yeah, so Tim wanted to be a maple too. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Excellent. They're pretty. They're hardy. You know, they last a while. They're nice.
Yeah.
Not showy. They're just basic.
They're just always there. They're
tree. Yeah.
base hits. That's what they're good for. Base hits.
Yeah. Even a double.
Yeah, now and again, sure.
Yeah. And now at Noah's house asked, car or truck?
Neither. I don't have a car. I live in New York City.
But you've had a close encounter with a car recently, I believe.
I've had and that's part of the reason that I said neither. I'm a little anti-car at the moment. Although my wife and son both have cars, so if I desperately need one, but I've never been a big car person. And I had the great, how can I say this? One of the reasons this happened was, my professional life. You go to another country, and particularly one, that might have some trouble. There's no Hertz, or an Enterprise.
You're not getting a rental Humvee with a 50 cal on the roof.
Well, we did have some in Iraq. We had some armored cars, but which was nice to have. But you hire a guy, with his car, and so for years, I had a guy with a car, and it was not very expensive. My company paid anyway, so.
All right.
So I got out of the habit. So neither.
Okay, fair enough. And then the last hard-hitting question, ultimate vacation.
These first two have kind of blown me away so far.
Yeah, these are, again, clutch questions. Your ultimate vacation. Money's not an object. Somebody else is paying for it. What are you going to do?
Oh, man. Fishing in New Zealand, maybe?
Oh, that's good. I like that.
That's good. Yeah. And this is where Tim and I stopped when you came on. So, Tim, your ultimate vacation?
Oh, I already said it. Remember? It was the family, the Griswold family vacation.
Oh, the Griswold vacation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huh.
What's that? What's the Griswold?
The Griswold family vacation. My kids and all their kids, and we all go someplace for summer vacation for a week.
Oh, that's nice. That's great.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
My wife and I, when we go on a vacation, we just move. It's too hard to maintain the supply lines. My wife and I have lived in 4 different places in Indiana, Arizona, North Carolina, South Carolina, and now Colorado. And now we're going to probably end up moving to Georgia. So.
Georgia. My family's from Georgia. A lot of it.
All right. Now,
I'm the first Yankee in our family, in forever.
Ooh, that makes Thanksgiving and Christmas rough, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they don't let me forget it either. No, my parents were both from Jacksonville, Florida, and I was born there. But when I was 1, we moved north, and so I am the token Yankee.
Was there a Johnny Reb driving that taxi? A gray belly?
No. It was so classically New York. I won't bore you with the story, but I was laying on the ground after getting hit. It just couldn't have been New York. Buy a taxi. And I was laying like this. Somebody was calling the ambulance. I was hit pretty hard. Excuse me. I guess we're allowed to swear on this show.
Please do.
Yeah, absolutely. We do all the time.
This guy looks over at me, and I'm kind of wondering, like, I didn't think I was going to die at that moment, because I think that moment had passed, but I was in, how can I say, scared and in a lot of pain, and the guy looks at me, he's like, "You're going to need a fucking lawyer."
Oh, no. Great. There you go.
He was like, "Do you got a lawyer?" I was like, no. He said,
Yeah.
you're going to need a fucking lawyer. And he disappears. And he comes back. He found some card and he like scribbled Diaz and Sons, like Flushing, Queens. He was called these guys. They're great.
They're good.
I'm like, ah,
Yeah,
they're good.
don't give me an ambulance for God's sakes. Here, get a lawyer
Exactly.
first. Get your priorities straight.
This is while I was waiting for the ambulance laying on the side.
Yeah. My
Great.
first step in finish, in working on any pipe is finish it first. Just put the finish on it and then go from there.
Right. Dip it.
That's about like,
Yeah.
that would be equivalent of that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So,
All right. So there you go. I did make a couple more blends this week. Just to upset Andy in Valdosta, Georgia. So I had been working on
my
casing.
grandmother grew up in Valdosta, Georgia.
Yeah.
For whatever it's worth.
Yeah. And I've been working on, I've got an excess of Kentucky Burley at the moment. And I made this rum and molasses casing for it. So I took the burley and sprayed it with the casing and then put it in a jar for a couple of weeks. And I thought, okay, we're going to make something. And then I also did a Virginia with an apple cider vinegar and apple casing on it to give it kind of a sweet appley taste. So I combined those two. So it's got Kentucky Burley molasses, some Rustica, and then 2 cigar leaves, the Brazilian Foiano and Black Fronto, and then the Virginia with the AC, and made Loudons County, which is Valdosta's the county seat of Loudons County. So Andy immediately, I posted a picture of it this morning, and Andy immediately said, look, if you just want my paycheck, let's set up direct deposit.
Oh, yeah?
He goes, I got to have that.
it. Wow,
So,
that sounds
yeah,
really good.
So Loudon,
Interesting.
Sounds
Yeah.
great. Wow.
yeah, so Loudon counties. And then I really wanted to make a Weber using the Burley molasses and the Bright Virginia with the apple vinegar. So I made Carolina Harvest, and it's got that wonderful, like, smoky vapor barbecue kind of flavor to it. And it's the Red Virginia, the Bright Virginia with the brown sugar and apple vinegar casing on it, some French dark air cured, a little Rustica, and some of the Kentucky Burley molasses. And I think that one's going to be something special. So
That sounds
Yeah,
great.
It does.
yeah, well, I have some free times at the moment. So when I'm not busy, I make things like Satchel of Richard.
You weren't here yet? Wouldn't tell that story, Jim. It's too good.
So Smoke Snacks, who has his own YouTube channel, and he and his wife are doing a 100 blends in 100 days video series. He had called me up last weekend and said, hey, I want you to make me a blend. I said, okay, what do you want? He goes, I want this, I want this, I want this. In fact, I've got the blend list here somewhere. Hold on just a moment. I have to go back through my notes. I actually make notes for the show because I can't read my computer while I'm doing this kind of stuff. So it is Rustica, light-fired, fire-cured Tennessee, Kentucky Burley, and a little Cavendish, and it's topped with vanilla and spiced rum. And he's, I said, okay, do you want to name this blend? And he says, yeah. And he sent me a list, and one of the names on the list was Satchel of Richards. And I thought, oh, that's a winner. Yeah, anybody who's got the balls enough to call his blend Bag of Dicks, we're good. That's
Satchel of Richard. Little slow over here in Brooklyn. I didn't get that.
Oh, God.
So I sent it to him. He got it. So it was actually a week ago this past weekend. He got it on Friday of last week and did a video on it on Saturday, and he and his wife were both enjoying it. And his wife is a former cigarette smoker, and she likes more of a nicotine hit, which is why this one is very Rustica forward. So there you go. That's what we got.
I'm a Rustica fan. I like it.
I've gotten a couple of great batches of it lately. So if you're going to blend at home, understand that when you get Rustica, it is dry as a bone. Do not shred it.
Right?
Do not shred it dry. You will make Rustica powder. and that makes it useless. You have to rehydrate it before you shred it. So, and I've gotten a couple of great batches of it. In fact, Egg Roll Piper, Greg from the Long Island Pipe Club, wanted a blend with rustic in it, and I've put rustic in a couple of blends lately because I find it to be the naturally most sweetest of the blenders. It has it's got much more of a natural sweetness to it than I think anything else. And then
I haven't thought of it that way, but yeah, I can see that. Sure.
And I like a nicotine hit. You know, I'm good with. I have a very high tolerance for nicotine, so I don't think about that. So Tim, we have 2 pipes that we need to do a giveaway for, and we need to think of a contest. And I believe that you thought about a contest.
I did. Now, we're approaching 345 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'd like to do is have a contest that for new subscribers. And so if you're a subscriber and you bring a subscriber, what you do is as a subscriber, send us a direct message or an email. You can send it to Jim or me, and just say, I've got my friend Satchel of Richard is going to subscribe, and then we'll look for it. And then once we see that subscription on YouTube, then and this is YouTube subscriptions because we can't tell on the other platforms who's coming.
Yeah.
But both you and the person and the guest that you brought will be entered for the contest. And if you're drawn, each of you, the person, the subscriber that brought the person, and the new subscriber, if you're drawn, you'll each get a pipe, one of those 2 pipes. What do you think?
There you go. And tell you what, in addition to that, I made these little leather Zippo and pipe tool contraptions, and somebody asked about them. I said, so for this contest, I'll actually make a pair of them. So if you smoke, you use a Zippo, and I really like Zippo, the Thunderbird lighter, pipe lighter in it. I'll make you a leather. So you get a pipe. There's 2 pipes to give away, and you'll both get a leather pocket holder because I can't stand walking around with things clanging in my pocket.
All right, good.
So
good. Yeah, we'll call it the buddy contest. Not Buddy, my dog Buddy, but...
Well, we could give away Buddy, and I think Anita'd probably be okay, and your coffee mug collection would probably...
Right. My shoes, I'd be able to keep the same pair of shoes for a week. All the mail that and Amazon boxes get dropped on the stoop, those would survive.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you'd actually find your drill bits in the packaging rather than randomly strewn about the yard. Yeah. And so my phone has been going off the entire time because normally I don't record on Monday nights. Riley Holmes, our friend Riley, sent me his worst blind date.
Oh, good.
He says, I really don't think this is safe to read on the air. No. There is nothing that is... this spot. We write a warning label at the beginning for a reason.
Right.
So Riley sent this in. If y'all really want to know the story behind the worst blind date, a friend set me up with a girl. Her name was Courtney, and I had just gotten my truck like a week before and met her at a Japanese sushi place. I got there and waited, and after about 20 minutes, I get a call, and it was her. Her car wasn't starting. If she asked if I could get her from her house instead. So I pick her up, and she was a big girl, bigger than me. So those of you who don't know Riley is not a dainty little wildflower. Bigger than me at the time. Oh, hold on. Now I've screwed it up. And she was missing one of her top teeth. She was also wearing a skin-tight dress that molded to the folds of her skin. So I drive us to the place we had already agreed to because I'm trying to be nice since I was set up by a friend telling me how sweet she was. Not being completely shallow and without the touch of a woman for many moons also makes one desperate. For dinner, she ordered the most expensive thing in the menu and proceeds to drink 8 glasses of wine. I get her...
This is going great.
This is all the earmarks of a train wreck. I get her back to my truck and I notice it. A smell. I thought maybe she had stepped in something and it was on her shoes or something. Well, she tells me she's horny and wet and ready to go. She takes off her panties and I'm hit with the vile smell of rotting fish mixed with suet and God knows what else. Oh, dude, I'm so sorry I read this. I did not. I didn't think it was going this way.
Right.
Wow.
Yikes.
So what happened?
Yeah.
So how was it, Riley?
He's still typing. Yeah. So I got a snorkel, and the next thing you know, I'm diving in. No, that's not what he said at all.
You got an iron lung.
Just,
Oh, God.
God.
Riley, you got to be careful what you tell it.
Riley.
Mixed company, we're going to... You give it to us, we're going to read it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the follow-up to it. She's trying everything in her power to get laid, and I'm trying to be nice enough to get her out of my truck. I tell her I want to wait to make it special, and she tells me it's a bigger turn-on to her that I want to wait. So I take her back home and block her number and drive to Walmart and buy carpet and seat cleaner and use the whole bottle on my new-to-me passenger seat that still had the smells on it. So, yeah, my worst blind date.
That's...
I am so sorry.
That's borderline awful.
That's epic.
Yeah.
Epic.
That's borderline awful right there.
Yeah. She's got 8 glasses of wine in her and $100 worth of dinner.
Well, when you don't have top teeth, though,
Goodness.
you can really flush that down. You got nothing to stop it.
That's right. My damn near eat corn on a cob through a picket fence. So,
Oh, man.
excellent.
Riley, thanks for that.
So-
Thanks, Riley.
Yeah. Thanks for
Gee,
that, Riley.
thanks.
So I promised Terry, I made a comment on the last show. And if you got to the last hour of episode 37, I'm sorry. I had drank almost a full bottle of Irish Redbreast. And I was well on my way to polluted. And I said a phrase that I've kind of kept with me for about the last 24 years. And it was the sucka, that one. And Terry said, well, how did you come up with that? I was working as a territory manager in Arizona, and I had this customer who was absolutely awful to me. He just berated me at any chance he could, wouldn't buy stuff from me. He was the kind of person that would not buy anything from you and call your boss and tell you what a piece of shit you were. And
Nice.
I had gone into, because he had called me up and said, I want to talk to you. So I made the appointment. I went into his office, and he just starts absolutely just ragging on me unmercifully. And I smiled for a few minutes, and I thought, okay, I'm going to get you. So we get done with the meeting. He doesn't buy anything, which is no surprise. So I drove over to the Home Depot, and I have them deliver a 50-pound bag of sand to his office with a note on top that says, when you get done pounding this, call me. I'll send you another one. And he called me up, and he was hot. He says, I want you back in my office right now. And this particular customer was a very large guy. He was about 6'5", and probably topping the scales at about 280. He's a big man. So I go back into his office, and he just starts in on me, and he goes to put his hand on me, and I walk right up, and I can't be nose to nose because I'm only, I'm 5'11", damn near 6 feet tall, and I get right up in his face, and I'm screaming at him, don't you ever talk to me like that again. I went into my very angry persona that I don't let out very often, and he said something, and I just told him, yeah, suck a fat baby's dick. and he turns, he just stops, looks at me, and all of a sudden this guy's laughing so hard he's crying. And he goes, okay, sit down. All right. And from that moment on, he became like one of the biggest customers I had, just because I said that to him, because I actually stood up to him apparently. So that's where that came from. And I have it's like, well, what's the most insulting thing I can say to this guy? That'll work. That's what I'm going to tell him.
Go.
Yeah, and he passed away, oh gosh, about 5 years ago, and we still talked up until about 6 months before he passed away. He goes, "You're the only one that called it." He says, "You're the only one," and he goes, "I've been in this business for 40 years. You're the only one that called me on my bullshit, and I can't tell you how I appreciate it."
Well, okay.
Cool. There you go.
But you thought, but I'm keeping the suck a fat baby's dick. That's my line.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to take that.
And
That one you've got forever.
yeah. I don't think anybody else is going to use it, even though I threw it out there. So
Not bad. Limited use cases, they would say, but not bad.
Yeah. So it was just, one of those moments. How did you come up with that? I have no idea. I just threw it out
happened. There. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So there we go. So we are coming to a close here on episode 38. It was a great joy to have Mr. Fisher on. And if people would like to get a pipe from you, they can get a pipe at Instagram.
They can get in touch with me through Instagram.
Sure. What is it on Instagram?
It's Fisher Pipes.
Okay.
Really simple.
Okay.
Fisher Pipes.
Okay.
Whatever it's worth. This one is available.
And what are you asking for that one?
Available. I'm sorry?
And what are you asking for that one? So
it's
people know. $250. All right. Very reasonable for a gorgeous bamboo pipe.
Yeah, it's a nice pipe.
All right.
Dandy.
And how
Thanks
often
so much for having me, Jim. I really appreciate it. Tim, really nice to meet
I
you.
look forward to seeing you in Vegas.
I will be there.
Are you going to have a table?
I don't know. Anthony and I are thinking about sharing a table. But yeah, I'd like to try.
Okay. That'd be great.
Yeah, I was going to try to be to Vegas, but because we're going to be moving, I don't see Vegas. I think I'm going to go to the Columbus Pipe Show. That's the one I kind of owe the most allegiance to. So Tim brought me out there 2 years ago with that one. So I think that'll be my first one. So this is what it is.
Yeah, and let's see. Yeah, so there's your. It's really terrible the quality of what you're able
Tim,
to
let's
see.
just do this.
But here's one here.
Look, just put the flash. Yeah, here we go. Here I got the flashlight right in the lens. That'll be good.
What
are you doing?
Now that's one of yours.
That's a blowfish.
Yeah, that's one of the.
That's really nice.
That is.
Very nice.
Well,
pipe.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Very nice.
Gorgeous. Now,
you'll see, Tim, exactly the issue that you discussed. I kind of fudged it. It's fine on one side and not on the which was fine. It was you could call it a design choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out fine.
Right.
But it's not classic in terms of having the both kind of like fins sticking out of the shank.
Right.
So it was.
Right. No, it's still a beautiful pipe.
But thank you. I thought it worked out. Thank you.
Where do you keep your blast cabinet?
Just right here. It's not a very big one. I would show you, but I'd be really embarrassed about how messy this place is. But everything is within.
You got it all right there then.
Like you said, kind of like tiptoeing on one side to that. I don't have to go very far to get anything done. Right. But like my bandsaw and the air compressor and I've got one of those, jet air filters. They're all like just kind of sitting in the basement. Not
Great.
part of my shop.
Yep, I get it.
There's no space.
I get it. Yep.
Yeah.
At least they're not in the shower, so
that's right.
I feel grateful for that.
At least. Yep.
Yeah. You've decreased your potential for being electrocuted immensely by not working in the shower.
Your wife said you can smoke in the house.
Entirely.
She said you can smoke in the house. You can even take the whole basement, but you move a lathe into the the shower. That's the last straw.
That's it. That's it.
She has limits, and that is it.
I got a limit.
Well, I started at the kitchen table, and there was dust and ebonite crap everywhere, and she looked at me, and she was like, nope, love you a lot.
You got to go, dude.
Something's got to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The vacuum cleaner sits in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was right. She always is, weirdly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell her that, for God's sakes. All right. Excellent. So we'll do this giveaway on the next episode. We do not have a guest scheduled for the next episode. So if there's somebody you'd like for us to talk to, think that'd be an interesting conversation, please let us know. Please hit like and subscribe. And we'll post this contest coming up on tomorrow, probably.
Yeah.
We'll take a couple of pictures, shoot some stuff out, and life will be good.
All right. Ian, it's a pleasure meeting you, brother.
Pleasure is mine. And I'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah.
Jim, thank you so much, and I'll continue to enjoy your tobaccos. I'm kind of looking forward to that new one with the Rustica and the Virginias.
Oh,
I'll look out for that.
The Carolina Harvest or the... Okay. Well, good news. Check your mail in a couple of days.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having me so much. I really enjoyed it.
You're quite welcome. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.